Today we will make a comparison between these exceptional smartphones and what their differences are, and we'll find out which is the best of all in terms of technical characteristics among the other technical aspects. In minutes we'll be talking to you all about these brands that dominate the market, so don't get detached from the screen. Let's start talking about the Huawei P60 Pro, a brand of Chinese origin that began quite quietly by placing low prices on the market to be a giant of smartphones. And in fact, some indicate that it is better than the iPhone 14. In the field of its cameras, we can see through visual comparisons that, although few believe it, Huawei P60 Pro wins in this battle, because you can see that in several lenses the Chinese brands beat Apple in definition and sharpness, having great detail in each photograph. Does the price of the new Apple smartphone justify its camera? Undoubtedly, more of a frequent user affirms that in some cases, it is more profitable to buy an iPhone cell phone instead of a digital camera to carry out certain audio-visual projects. Since today, iPhones are equal in quality to some reflex cameras, but unexpectedly at this point, Huawei beats it when it comes to photography. Even at telephoto zooming in, you can see that the Huawei P60 Pro has got great detail, even if this Chinese smartphone is now compared with its closest competitor, which is the Samsung S23 Ultra. We can see that the Huawei also has more detail in both the camera and the video recorder. If we compare the quality of the camera between the latest smartphone from Huawei and the one from Samsung, we can appreciate this Samsung has a great quality in terms of interior and exterior, but once again, Huawei wins in terms of sharpness and quality even in low conditions of light. Indoors, we can see more detail in terms of camera and video, although it must be admitted that the Samsung knows how to show off outdoors. We are talking about three incredible photography and video cameras, which could be a better economic option against the professional reflex cameras. And for making home videos, they are the indicated option. But on the other hand, it must be admitted that the Huawei has better performance in this area with its two opponents. Although in some examples, you can see that in the area of video, Apple has a better performance in terms of selfies, since they always tend to spend more time on this aspect, because in general, Apple is always the #1 option for influencers on Instagram among other social networks, and what they use the most is the front camera of the iPhone. If we see a better performance on the iPhone 14 in this aspect against Samsung and Huawei, it is for this reason they clearly do not want to lose their regular customer. But not everything is perfect for Huawei, because in some areas it can win, but in others it will lose, and it will not have a chance to remedy it. As for hardware, the Huawei P60 Pro cannot compete against Samsung or against Apple, because the Huawei has restricted the use of 5G and should only be limited to using 4G. In addition, in terms of its processor, it is limited against the Samsung, for example, because of the South Korean company has a more up-to-date processor in its new device, the Snapdragon 8 Generation 2. Although both have the same configurations in terms of RAM, that is 8 and 12, but although the RAM is the same between the Chinese and the Korean smartphone, without a doubt, the Samsung S23 Ultra will have better performance when it comes to running video games, among other things. Because the small detail that will give better result is the powerful processor it has, Samsung. As for the battery, both devices have great specifications, because Samsung has 5,000 milliamps and Huawei 4,815. Although the battery performance of the Huawei P60 Pro is excellent and can provide hours of uninterrupted gaming, in this area Samsung wins again by only a hair of difference, but at the end of the day is a noticeable difference. And as for the iPhone 14 Pro Max, it lags behind in this regard because it has 4,323 milliamps. We must mention mention one important thing. The iPhone 14 Pro Max does not target the video game market, so it was not necessary to add so much battery performance. This may be the reason for this percentage. Things change with fast charging because the Huawei has 88 watts and Samsung only 45 watts. In other words, in terms of battery performance, each device has its own strong point and its weak point. Although something must be highlighted, when you buy the Huawei P60 Pro, a charger is included. The same does not happen in the case of the Samsung S23 Ultra, and the same happens with the iPhone 14 Pro Max because these new Apple devices do not include chargers. So those interested in buying this device should use a previous iPhone charger or else get one in store, which in fact is not cheap at all. So we could consider this a good strategy on Huawei's part. But if it has a big point against the Huawei P60 Pro, it is that although it has Android 13 like the Samsung S23 Ultra, it does not have the services offered by Google. Huawei does not come with an app store, and in fact, if you want to install this type of service, you must carry out a series of steps that may turn out to be a headache for someone who does not know much about mobile devices. That is why in this area, Samsung wins. And of course, also the iPhone 14 Pro Max, because it has its own digital ecosystem, that is the iOS. Although if you are already used to the mobile devices such as Xiaomi, it may be easier for you to install these types of stores. We can't say that any of these devices are horrible because all three are great performers and are great in many of their areas. For mainstream users of devices that only use it for simple tasks like WhatsApp and YouTube, any of these devices may satisfy their needs. And if there are users who expect better performance in videos, cameras, software, hardware, among other things, the decision becomes somewhat difficult. But if you have this type of doubt, be sure to subscribe to our channel to learn more about these devices. Now, the question is for you. Which of these devices would you like to buy? What do you think stands out in terms of software? Leave me your answer below in the comments, and if you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel to see more similar videos and activate the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you when we upload a new video. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned with Tech Pineapple.